Thank you for joining us for another episode of Locked on Bulls. I'm Haize. That's Pat the Designer. On today's episode, we'll be talking about it's been 11 years since Derrick Rose won the MVP. We'll also go into what this team can learn from that era's team. We can do all that and more on today's Locked on Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked on Bulls your first listen. Locked on Bulls, a member of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Pat, man, it's been 11 years since one of the most monumental seasons in not only Chicago Bulls history, but really NBA history. When you look at the fact that we still have the youngest reigning MVP in Derrick Rose. How fondly do you remember the season? What does it mean to you? I'll say this was like one of the first seasons of my oldest son really being like alert and paying attention to basketball. And I just remember us catching every single Bulls game that we could catch and how amazing he thought Derrick Rose was. Like for a while there, my son would have been 5 at the time. He literally thought that Derrick Rose was the best player he had ever watched. He's gotten older since then. He saw some other players, but it just always have fond memories of that season and what that meant to me and like my son and things like that. But what does that season mean to you?
I think it's what the season means to me and to the NBA. It really shaped the age of point guards in this NBA, right? You don't get to the point where you have a Ja Morant if you don't have Derrick Rose have the kind of games that he was having that season. 25 points per game, 7.7 assists per game, literally was the heart and soul of that. I don't know if I say the heart and soul, that was kind of joking, but the driving force of that team led them to that 62-20 record, right? Like all of a sudden there were points in that season where we were like, man, like we going for the Jordan record, like what we doing with this season, you know what I'm saying? And it was just such a it was such a game-changing thing, and it was such a big thing for the city because he was from here, because of the love that we showed him, because of everything that he poured, everything that we put into him and everything that he poured into us. You know, it was so good to see an athlete give back to the city the way that Derrick Rose did by bringing us the MVP. I think that team eventually would have won a championship if he continues to stay healthy, but we know how that goes. But just seeing that and then seeing the repercussions of it, right? Seeing how it continues to trickle into the NBA. Like I said, you don't get to the Ja Morants without a player like Derrick Rose, who essentially was, I mean, kind of the I don't want to say the focal point of the scoring point guard, because that's not true. Like there were point guards that were scoring before him, but the point guard that was the entire operation was put on his shoulders. Like there was Chris Paul before him, but like Derrick
Shout
Rose,
out to Darren Williams as well. Let's make sure we mention
Darren Williams as well. You know what I'm saying? But it was such a rarity, and it was almost like when D Rose came in, teams started looking at the point guard as a position that, hey, no, we can build around players like this. We can build our teams around point guards like that. And we've continued to see it throughout the NBA, you know, and it's still happening. Literally tonight, it's happening right now as every night of the week, you're seeing a point guard go out and dominate. So just so much love to Derrick. First off, Derrick, you ever want to come on the show, we would love to have you on here, man. But just it's so good to see somebody from the town do what Derrick did, and it's always been love, man. It still sucks to see you go. I'm one of those fans that, like, not to say I want Derrick back every year, but if they signed Derrick, I definitely wouldn't be like, dang, we got Derrick Rose back. What's that gonna do for us? Like, I'm always like, Derrick, what you doing this season, man? You trying to come kick it over here back in the
I think especially this past offseason where there were some reported interest from both sides.
Yeah.
And then I think it was less than an hour after Derrick Rose announced that he was re-signing with New York, we announced that we signed Alex Caruso to basically the same exact contract.
Yeah.
And so I think there's always going to be that interest in Derrick Rose returning, but I think something that really makes that season special too is the speech that he had, the why not me, right?
Yeah.
And then went out and proved it. And to your point, Derrick Rose was the engine that made that team go. And just seeing, the slow rise and build, and the fact that too, I think people forget this. We never got to see Derrick Rose in his prime. Never.
Yeah.
There was no Derrick Rose prime, because the
Yeah.
time that would have been his physical prime, he was coming back. He was still working his way back from the knee injuries. And then when he finally did, have that resurgent season in Minnesota, I think it was when he had his first like true resurgent season. That was so many years removed at that point. And, he was far past being a starter level even at that point, even though he had some amazing games in the Minnesota uniform. And that, like, just what Derrick Rose meant to the city. The
Yeah.
fact that we got him on a 1.8% chance on us even getting the first round pick, to see his first 2 seasons and him to ascend, right, the way that he did.
Where's conspiracy theory Haize on that one right there?
Oh, conspiracy theory Haize, absolutely. The NBA said, "Hey man, we need Chicago to be back a factor. We got there's a kid from Chicago coming in. Hey, envelope 3, 6, and 9. Make sure you put a little something on those, man. Yeah. Go ahead and put a little something extra on those lottery balls,
We
man.
all know what it was on that one, dog. We was like,
Listen. Yeah, and it wasn't even Adam Silver at that
36
point.
games that year.
That would have still, and keep in mind, there's just the way that whole thing worked out. Because remember the season before, correct me if I'm wrong, if we didn't win 50 games, it was like 48 games, and then we completely had the complete like we end up trading Ben Wallace. The team just couldn't seem to win. It was a terrible season. Barely any chance to win the number 1 overall pick. We win it. Then there's that whole fake thing on, well, should they draft Beasley? Wouldn't he keep this team? Oh, well, listen, everybody knew the moment.
It wasn't fake. There was a lot of people that was like,
Yeah.
listen, I love the rookie point guard. But that's what I mean. They literally believed you can't build your team around a point guard.
Yeah, this is true.
You can't build your team around a point guard. You have to build your team around a dominant wing player. And so people were in love with Michael Beasley. Yeah, there's no way we should have got that pick, though. I mean, we were 41-41 in 08.
Okay.
We were 41-41 in 09. No, wait. We drafted Derrick. Oh, wait, my bad. Yeah, no, you are right. We were 49-33 in 07.
I thought so.
You were right. And the next season, we were 33-49.
See? Okay.
The NBA was like, come on, brother. You know
the NBA called the Bulls and was like, hey, y'all winning, y'all flip-flopping y'all record this season. Pax is probably there like, what do you mean? Y'all flip-flopping the record this season. Okay. All right. If that's what you want, that's what we'll do. But yeah, man. It's just such a great memory, such a great career. Well, at that point, I mean, Derrick Rose's Chicago career, that first really 4 seasons, people cop it at that first 3 seasons, because in his 4th season is when he tore his ACL. But that Bulls team in that lockout year was a better team than the year before.
Yes.
And so, it sucks that we never got to see true prime Rose, a healthy prime Rose, and what that could have looked like. Could you imagine had Derrick Rose never had that injury, and we had Jimmy Butler and a prime never injured Derrick Rose? Come on, that's a championship team right there.
Well, especially, I think it's the thing that reshapes Thibs' career, right? Because everybody was mentally prepared for the kind of grind that Thibs was going to put him through. Now, listen, we all know Thibs running you through a wall. Like, they probably
playing every minute.
Every minute. Joakim Noah playing 41 minutes in a end of season game versus Charlotte out here. Thank God that Billy don't do that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know if I can handle that in 2022. But it's like, looking at it, right? Like, it's the difference in where this team could have been derailed by one player. And I mean, a front office that really was just never willing to try and rebuild around anything but that team.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say, but listen, nothing but fond memories of D-Rose time in Chicago. Like
Sure.
the part that hurts me the most, right, is it was before I was ever doing sports talk, any of this stuff. I was one of the people that was like, listen, I love Derrick, but if you can't play, we can't use you. So it's probably better to trade him. And after seeing, like, every year now they re-show the Pooh documentary where he hears the trade call, and it's just like, yeah, I'm a piece of garbage. I'll hold that one.
Yeah. I remember when they announced that
Garden.
trade, bro. There was probably a good like minute and a half where I was just kind of paralyzed, like, damn, man. I mean, I understood it, but it was just like, damn, Derrick Rose is not going to be a Chicago Bull anymore.
Yeah, if the business versus the emotion of it were two different things. Like I still like even when they made the trade, I was still like, man, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like
for
we're
sure.
never gonna see him get to that peak. And you know what it was? Like there was what was it that Jordan came back for? Was it the 20 years since the last championship, or was
Something
10
like that.
years? Something like that. Jordan came back and it was just like him saying, listen, I've seen y'all play. You're gonna win a lot more championships with this kid. And just I've always remembered that he was speaking there and he was talking about championships. Him and Scotty were still friends. Like it's like everything went south from that point on.
Definitely. But next up, we'll talk about what this Chicago Bulls team can learn from that team. But first, I got to talk to you guys about Built Bar. Now, summer is coming, and with summer, you're going to need some food on the go. Built Bars are the perfect snack to take with you on family vacations. Throw them in your bag, in your kids' backpacks. Make sure that everyone has a bar so that you are fueled for summer adventures. The best part about Built Bar is they're healthy and delicious. No more sacrificing delicious food for health. With Built Bar, you can have both, and it's easy. All you have to do is go to BuiltBar.com and order now. All Built Bars and Puffs. We've been telling you about the Puffs. Try the Puffs. Are covered in 100% real chocolate. That means with Built Bar, you can eat healthy and actually enjoy doing it. Have you tried the Built Puffs yet? We're going to go crazy for the Puffs. They're in some crazy flavors like banana cream pie and even churro. Who doesn't want a protein bar that tastes like a churro, and they're only 140 calories? So here's what we're going to do for you. I want you to go to BuiltBar.com. Get all your favorites, banana cream pie, raspberry, double chocolate, whatever else. But enter that promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off your order at Built.com. Now, also, before we get into the next segment, I want to thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen. Now I want you to go check it on Locked On NBA Built Bar, where Raphael, Richard, Sam Ferris, and Leaf Tullen are giving you an in-depth look on the NBA draft, mock draft, player rankings, and of course, big boards. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. All right, Pat. One of the biggest things about that era Bulls team was the heart that they played with, the execution that they played with, the play style, the fact that they came in, everybody knew their role and they executed it very well on that team, and that really helped that team kind of exceed past the sum of their parts in many ways. Now, Derrick Rose was still the engine. He was a hell of an engine to get that going. Not to mention Taj Gibson, Joakim Noah, and even Carlos Boozer, especially in those first couple of years, kind of did his thing. But what's something that you feel this era Chicago Bulls team can learn from that era Chicago Bulls team?
Excuse me. Attention to detail.
Great point.
We heard it. Remember, me and you were dying laughing about it, right? Like Billy Donovan comes over and said, you can't keep coming to me and saying that's my bad coach. That team would have never said that's my bad coach because they wouldn't have made it to the coach because Joakim Noah would have cussed them out by the time they got near the edge of the court, right? You know what I'm saying? Carlos Boozer would have been on him. Jimmy Butler would have been on him. Derrick Rose.
He would have just looked at him.
He'd have just looked at you. The best right was when, what was it?
When they were dancing at the All-Star?
No, not that one. Derrick had a shot. It was this tells you like I just been watching basketball. This is probably not a common memory for everybody, but Derrick puts up like a floater.
Oh, when Tyrese Thomas
Thomas
got the basket interference, and he just
got basket interference.
Hey, I remember that play.
Hey, yeah, dog. Yes, shout out. I'm glad we're here. But like to me, right, that was like the biggest thing you were gonna get out of Derrick. Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you got that out of Derrick, you knew he was mad. But I I feel like that's the biggest thing, right? There was such an attention to detail. There was attention to where do I need to be on my rotation? Where do I need to be on this part of the offense, right? As much as we can be upset about Kyle Korver not being able to knock down shots, he knew where to be to get those shots. The Bulls knew how to set screens for him to get him open. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of those things that you look at with how the season went down and how the team executed, right? Like at no point did we think the Bulls had an issue with execution. The Bulls' problem was a talent deficiency in those seasons. They had all the talent in the world, but you didn't have enough talent to beat LeBron, like most teams did at that time. So you just weren't on the same level as LeBron, D Wade, and Chris Bosh. But everything about what made the Bulls the biggest threat at that time was their attention to detail, especially on the defensive end. I think that's the biggest thing the Bulls need to take away from this, right? I get Zach LaVine's injury kind of limited him on how he was able to move, but you know what was wrong with DeMar DeRozan not getting out to the corner on the defensive spots? You know, even at moments, listen, I love Vooch. I think that Vooch is a better player than most Bulls fans give him credit for, but there are some moments where you look at Vooch and you're like, hey, dog, like, not for nothing, but you're 7 feet tall. Put your arms up. You know what I mean? Like it's so there's kind of a give and take with it, but for me that would be the biggest thing. What about you, dog?
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't think that that's probably what I would have said coming in, but you just completely made a great point. It is the execution. It's the knowing where to be, when to be there, and doing that thing every single time you're called on to do it. That's one of the reasons why, like as much potential as like Kobe has, and Troy Brown Jr. still has some potential as well. I just think that if we want to get to the level that we can get to, at some point in time, the potential thing can't be. We need people who are going to come in and execute in their roles, whatever that role is, no matter how specialized it is or how general it is, that can just execute and be trusted. We don't have that right now coming off the bench. We have it in AC. Io, he's a rookie. We won't expect Io to be consistent quite yet. But like everything else on that bench from top to bottom just did not give us something consistently that we could bet on every night, even Tristan. So I think if the Bulls can focus on that, but also the starters. And one of the things that I also want to say on this is that, and this may be controversial, Zach LaVine is more athletic than Derrick Rose was. If Zach LaVine,
that's controversial.
If Zach LaVine,
numbers.
Yeah, I mean, if Zach LaVine though had the determination on every play of, hey, you can't stop me, that Derrick Rose had.
Yeah,
he has that at times, right? But if he had that every single possession where it's like, hey, if something breaks down at the bare minimum, yeah, I'm gonna run the offense. Hey, if Joakim can get a dunk, I'm gonna get it to him. If Bogan's over there in the corner can get a shot, I'm gonna get it to him. But if not, if anything else breaks down, I'm going straight to the cup, and I dare you to get in front of me and stop.
100%. I was just looking up his vertical. Zach LaVine has a 46-inch vertical.
See, there you go.
Post ACL injury.
That's crazy. That's wild, bro.
That's not like the ultimate determination of athleticism, but like,
yeah.
That was a pretty crazy number to see right there.
Yeah. So like if Zach needs to see some of that, right? I don't want Zach to copy Rose's game at all because he's a better shooter than Rose ever was. But that just overall determination of, hey, if this play breaks down, the defense can't let up, because guess what? I'm coming to put it on your head.
Yeah.
I need Zach to take in some of that as well. Especially if Zach's gonna be our max contract player, he's gonna be the best player. If he's gonna want to be that number one option, we need to start seeing that from Zach LaVine consistently. Every single game. We need to see that level of determination to say, hey man, listen, I'm either getting to the foul line, or I'm about to dance all over y'all. What y'all gonna do? What you gonna do?
And I think the biggest thing he can do to copy Derrick Rose, get a handle.
Oh, that's absolutely has to be the thing.
For you to be that player, right? Like, to me, Zach LaVine, deadly 3-point shooter, can, if he jays it in your face, it can break your heart. Yeah. But when Zach LaVine adds coming off of the dribble to his game, taking you off of the dribble, being able to blow past you with a move, he's literally one of the most unstoppable players in the NBA at that point. Yeah. But right now he doesn't have that, right? Right now he doesn't have that handle that we could say is a consistent handle. We see a lot of times where he's dribbling it off his knee. See a lot of times where he's dribbling it off his foot. a lot of times he goes into a move and it ends up turning into a fadeaway jump shot because he doesn't have the move to get past that guy, right? I feel like that if he adds that, he's that next level of player. I guess that's another thing. Like, hey, dog, go study Derrick Rose's handle. Because like Derrick's handle was, well, I mean, okay, I
He had some turnover
maybe
issues.
maybe study Luol Deng's handle. I feel like Luol Deng might be a little more easy for you
Yeah,
to
yeah.
attain right
Let
away.
get to Lou all day because like Zach Levine, that's like going from a 1 to a
Yeah,
9
I had
because
to think
Derrick
about how
Rose's
Derrick was
handle,
breaking people down, bro.
bro. Listen, and the funny thing is that while we know that Derrick Rose had like some crazy moves, when it was really in game, it was the simple things, right?
Yeah.
It was the simple hesitations, step back, the change in speed. Hey, listen, Derrick Rose just changed his speed to where it looked like he was about to slow down and probably process some progressions on what other players are going to do. Is like, oh no, I'm just
I'm just going
setting
left.
you up. I'm finna
I'm
blow
just
by
going
you.
left. And then I'm
Yeah,
gonna go right again.
yeah,
Same full speed, 100%. It was,
yeah.
you know what's wild? We had him and Devin Hester in the city at the same time. Two dudes that literally was Devin go? No, yeah. Devin was still here. 08, right?
Uh,
Nah, Devin might have been going at that
no,
point. Devin might have been going at that point.
no, yeah,
The
yeah,
fact
yeah.
that we had two players, I guess I should say, like that around a similar time, because like just mugs don't think about it, right? Like when you change directions full speed, that's not normal.
Yeah. That's not.
That's
That's
not
not.
normal. You think about like Russ slows down to change direction.
Mm,
John Wall kind of was the same way. John Wall had that same kind of handle. Like he literally would be going right and then just go left and then back right, and it would be all at the same speed. Like that's not a normal thing to do, dog. So
yeah.
Derrick, we miss you, dog. But yeah, man, it's like I said, get the Luol Deng level first. You get the Luol Deng. CJ Watson. Give me some CJ Watson.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You give me a little CJ Watson.
All right. So next up, last segment of the day, we're gonna get into the mailbag. We got a text message, a couple of voicemails to get into. We're gonna go into the text message first. This one's from Eric from Richmond, and he leaves this. I don't think the Bulls will or should make any big moves this offseason. Resign Zach. Let the other free agents walk. Through the draft free agency, they need a backup 3 and D wing, a rim protecting center. They can hope for improvement through development of younger players. 3-pint practice players.
3 points.
3. I don't know what he meant by that. And better health leading to improved chemistry. After next year, Vooch's contract ends, and they can use that money to chase a star. Since the Bulls will finally look like a free agent destination. All right, Eric, I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna give it over to Pat, but I just want to correct something. And this is something that I noticed a lot of just NBA fans in general don't really quite understand, because the NBA cap is difficult, right? I'm not even a capologist,
No.
but when Vooch's contract is up, the Bulls are they're going to be over the cap anyway. So that Vooch's $24 million or so does not translate to free agent space to use that same amount of money to try to sign a free agent. Even at that point, the Bulls will still only have exceptions at that point to use to try to sign. They'll have their biannual back by then, and then they'll have another mid-level exception by then, but they won't have that same amount of cap space from Vooch's contract to go after free agents. But Pat, what do you think about the rest of Eric's text there?
I think he's probably right on point with what the Bulls are going to do, right? I would be surprised if the Bulls went and got a superstar, especially after AK talked about how all the teams that we played against had 3 to 5 years of continuity. They were levels of, now granted, right? Like a player's drop off absolutely plays into that. If by that point Vooch is giving us like 8 and 8, yeah, we'll probably move on from Vooch, but I think AK is going to want to probably keep that continuity together, especially if Vooch is still giving us good production.
Yeah.
And try and build around what is here. And listen, you're paying Zach LaVine because AK and Mark Eversley feel like Zach LaVine is that next level of player, whether Bulls fans feel like he is or not. AK and Mark Eversley feel like Zach LaVine's going to get you to the peak, and we have to put pieces around him and draft pieces that are going to help you get there, right? What is that going to be? Could that be moving that 18th pick in the draft, which is still wild that we got, right? Could that be moving that 18th pick in the draft to go get a nice bench piece? Definitely could be. Is that something you want to move there, or would you rather draft there? But I mean, I agree with him. Like, you have to find, at a minimum, right? Maybe we're looking at this the wrong way. We've said trade it for like a big man or something like that. You probably need to be trading that 18th pick in the draft for, like, what I think he was trying to say, a 3-point specialist. I think that's what he was trying to say.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, it was probably 3-point. My brain didn't register that quite right. I mean, as we get closer to free agency, I think we'll start looking at like, well, who's realistically available. But the Bulls they can get a 3-and-D wing, and by that an actual 3-and-D, like, right, somebody who we know is going to be able to shoot some threes.
Me, Otto Porter?
Oh no, come on, that's PTSD, bro. Please, no. Even though, hey, shout out to Otto Porter for playing pretty good for the
Otto Porter, man.
But yeah, he did give us some. But yeah, I mean, I think Eric is right on there, and you love a reasonable Bulls fan.
Hey, listen,
so shout out to
Red Nation. See, Red Nation goes hard out here, man.
Man, listen,
you gotta understand. Most of us are drinking. I mean, honestly, let's be real, right? Yeah. Most of us are drinking at this point in the night when we sending these messages and responding to stuff on YouTube. I get it. It's okay, see, Red Nation. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, so the next one up, this voicemail is from Jamal. So let's go ahead and get into this one now.
Let's do it.
What's up, Haize? What's up, Pat? You already know what it is. It's your boy Jamal back again with another voicemail for you. Man, oh man, is it the off season? I gotta say, this is probably one of the biggest off seasons I've done as a Bulls fan for a long time. 3-4 years ago, I didn't really care about the off season because I pretty much knew what was going to happen. It was crap when we went into it, and we were going to be crap when we came out of it. last season was the most excited that I felt about an off season because I knew that AK and Mark Eversley were going to make moves. I told my dad, they're about to make moves this off season. You're going to see some changes be made, and Lord knows they did that. I can't be mad. But this offseason, this was different, baby. You see, this one is where I feel like Bulls fans actually feel the pressure of losing something and gaining something at the same time. Do we lose Zach LaVine? Do we lose Mark Eversley? Do we lose Kobe White or trade Kobe White away? What about Vooch? What happens to the team? Are we going to see major changes? Or what do we gain? Who comes back? Does Zach LaVine sign that max? Or does he take a pay cut? Do we add in another big name? Or is it more likely that we add in some very good key role players? Who are they going to be? What is the future of the Chicago Bulls? Damn, I feel like a Dragon Ball Z narrative right now. That being said, it's definitely one that's keeping me awake at night. I just want whoever's going to win the finals to hurry up and win so we can get into the offseason. But that being said, it's interesting to see what moves AK and Mark Eversley are going to make. Zach is going to say who we bring in, who leads the team. As always, I can't wait to see. As always, C-Win and go Bulls.
All right, that's from Jamal. First of all, Jamal's excitement. That man is excited about this offseason. Shout out to Jamal on that one. What I will say is that this offseason is going to tell us a lot because it's going to tell us, hey, how much closer are we to truly contending, right? Zach LaVine's pending free agency aside, outside of that, once that business is taken care of, what moves do AK and Eversley make to really get us closer to a championship contender? If they completely revamp that bench in the way that we can see them rebuilding it and reshaping it, it can really go from us being a first-round exit this year to us making it really interesting and going much further and being more consistent over the course of the regular season as well. Go ahead, Pat.
I just loved it. Maul threw a Dragon Ball Z reference in there, dog. Like, he was definitely just like, will the Bulls find their next big bench piece? Find out next season on Chicago Bulls basketball. Where you getting that kind of content at, man? No, I agree with Maul on the excitement coming into this offseason, right? I would say don't expect the excitement that we saw last season because you're not looking for stars this season. Or this offseason. I don't think that I don't think AK is going into this right and saying, I'm going to go get a dominant bench piece that is a starter level player that we're now relegating to the bench, right? Like
Mhm.
you're going in this trying to fix your holes because you plan on re-signing Zach LaVine. Now, granted, if Zach doesn't sign, that changes everything. But you're going in this trying to fix your holes because you're planning on re-signing Zach LaVine. And there's not going to be a ton of money to just go throwing around, right? So to me, you're going to see where the Bulls feel they have their weakest point being addressed. And is that size, is that shooting? Both spots were pretty weak this season, right? But when you're talking about a dominant bench piece, you feel like you've got that in Caruso already. Also, Ayo continuing to develop. What's he going to become? You know what I'm saying? So there's a couple pieces there. You're just trying to fill out what you already have in place. So I agree with Maul, but I would say tamper the excitement maybe a little bit.
That's fair. That's fair. What somebody that we haven't talked much about at all since we've taken over this podcast. What are the chances that you think Marko Simonovic puts on some serious weight in this offseason? And he comes, not to say that that's going to be the only, they still need to make a big man addition.
Yeah.
But do you think Marko is going to be at the place where he's on the main roster for the most part this season? At least starts it off that way, and we can actually see what we have in Marko Simonovic.
I mean, Marko was on the main roster this season. Billy just seemed to hate him.
He was only on the main roster for a total of 8 games this season, bro. It just seemed like it was more than what it was. It was only 8 games this season,
he was
bro.
he was on there for the whole West Coast trip. He was on there for the. Now he might have only got in 8 games this season, but he was on that mug. So like, I don't know. Like Marco's interested, right? Because I feel like Marko has to find his way where he's not the number one piece. He hasn't. I think that might have been the biggest adjustment for Marko. And adding weight and stuff like that, right? But
I was
like,
about to say it was the size because that man was getting body.
yeah, for sure. He got dunked on literally every time he got in the game. But when you think about it, right, like Marko was on a team where he was the number one. And now he's essentially having to come to a team where, like, dog, you're not even the number 6. You know what
Not
I'm
even
saying?
the number 8.
You know what I mean? So I feel like there was a little bit of a mental adjustment, which is why they sent him down to the Windy City Bulls to try and get used to kind of the NBA game and adjusting to that role. But then he went down there and dominated and became the number 1. So what really changed? So I don't know. Marco's going to be an interesting one. I feel like Marko is a novelty piece. I do have the video on my channel where I say, could he be Jokic 2.0?
He has the skills. Like, again, one thing that I've been, the skill set, right, is there. It's just up to him to see if he can actually execute that skill set on the NBA level, because they're not going to make it easy on him. But I will say the way that his shooting came along over the course of that G League season was great to see. His physicality, at least in the G League, came along as well. But he's definitely going to have to bulk up. Like, if you give Marko Simonovic Tyler Cook's body, that's going to be an interesting player to see what he can do.
If he bulk up like that, the NBA is going to be testing him every hour on the hour. They are not going to let that. Do you see the difference in Marko? and legitimately, kid went to a game this year. He said Marco's like the biggest dude on the team. Like, he's huge, but he's just so skinny.
See?
So that's gonna be interesting to see.
And I know people may not remember this, but all I'm gonna say is go and Google Tyler Cook when he was on Denver, and you'll see why I made that comparison, because Tyler Cook was skinny as shit too. So be on the lookout for that. Let's go ahead and get into this last voicemail before we close out the show.
Hi, my name is Robert Schwartz.
Robert!
This is for Haize and Pat the Designer.
What's
you
good,
guys are doing a fantastic job on Locked On Bulls. I really enjoyed watching the season with you guys. We had a good season. Go Bulls.
Gotta love it when you straight to the point.
Shout out to you, dog. You wasn't lying. Tyler Cook was.
That's what I'm saying.
He wasn't Marko skinny though, but yeah, I get you. No, Robert, shout out to you, bro. Robert Schwartz, first off, over in the Breeze Discord, showing all the big love. Shout out to Robert, man. And he is a diehard Bulls fan. He be getting names wrong sometimes though, but Robert, good people, man. He one of my favorite fans out here.
That's what's up. Yeah, shout out to you, Robert. Thank you, man. We're glad you're enjoying the show since we've taken it over. And we're gonna continue to improve. We're gonna continue to add our flavor, our style, and we're gonna keep executing. And JV's gonna keep getting dubs over here, man.
Big dubs out here, man. Big dubs.
Yeah. But hey, Pat, unless you got anything else, man, that's it for today.
Nah, man, that's about it for me. Yeah, nah, dog. Marco got arms like I do. Marco was small, bro. I was looking. I was like, the Tyler Cook comparison might be. Nah, that ain't it.
Okay, fair
nah,
enough,
man, that's it for me, man. I'm all good, man. Appreciate Bulls Nation for pulling up for another episode. Hey, by the way, I want y'all to understand something. If you here in the off season, you die hard out here. Shout out to the diehards in the building, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man.
Definitely, man. Go give me social media.
Follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. That's PATTHEDESIGNER. Yes, I did go to public school, but they taught me how to spell. Also, follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls, where you can hear some hilarious clips get dropped, bro. I keep going back and rewatching that clip of you calling Garth Foreman
Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle Rock, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I was crying laughing.
You know what's so funny about that, bro, is that I almost forgot I said that until reading some of the comments, and somebody was like, "Hey man, y'all wrong for that Gar Foreman bar." And my first mind was, "What Gar Foreman bar?" And then I was like, "Oh wait, oh no, that need to be a clip. Let me go clip that real quick." But man, you guys can follow me at CEO Haize. That's CEOHAIZE. And you can catch us tomorrow on Locked On Bulls. We want to thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen of the day. Now we want you to go check on Locked On NBA, where you can even sometimes find our very own Pat the Designer. From the first jump ball of the play-in tournament to the last possession of the finals, the Locked On experts take you deep inside the playoffs with insight and analysis affecting all 30 teams. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. So thank you for listening to us. Go check on Locked On NBA. We out. We will see you lovely and beautiful people tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
Peace.